that makes people ready for change? At what point you've all obviously made some changes in your life. At what point did you make that decision to go ahead and do something that you might not fully be feeling prepared for, or that you might be like a little bit afraid of, or you don't know the circumstance? Any instant come up for anybody as far as a time when you have made a change, and like what kind of sparked that, or what the catalyst was? That's something else we're going to look at in this series, is seeing where we have been successful and how we achieve that success. And I don't care if it's baking a batch of cookies and not burning the bottom, or tying your shoe, whatever. You've been successful at something, and there's a certain formula that was in place to get you to that success. So we're going to take a look at that too. Any idea when people make those changes?
No.
No?
No, I know I just feel good
Yeah.
doing it, and I want to do it, but I don't know.
Well, you hit on something really, really key. You said it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It makes you feel good to make those changes. When your pain, fear, discomfort, anxiety level, whatever it is equal to your fear of what could happen or possibly happen, or the fear of the unknown, or your fear of not being perfect, which is a big reason why a lot of people procrastinate. When your pain and discomfort in your life as you know it equals the possible pain and discomfort of actually making a change, that's when you do it. That's what is the tipping point. A lot of people talk about the tipping point. That's what pushes people over the edge, so to speak. You're going to give one way or the other. Some people might go into a breakdown mode, but usually that's the catalyst to get you to move. When you are finally so sick and tired of your situation, then you'll do whatever it takes to get yourself out of it. And you'll risk everything, and you'll lay it all on the line. So for myself, I was so sick and tired of not knowing. Like, it was like a control thing almost for me. It was like, how can this thing have control over me, and I have no power over it? And it makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I was sick and tired of the back and forth. I was tired of working so hard to get to a goal, feeling amazing and on top of the world, only to have it slip from my fingers just a few weeks later as it started to slide back the other way again. And I was tired of that devastation. I was tired of feeling like a loser. I was tired of feeling like a failure. I was tired of just that suffering that went along with it. And I guess I am pretty determined when it comes to some things. I mean, that was one thing that determination just came out. That productive anger is what I call it. I don't know if I coined that or if I got that from somebody, but productive anger, where you're so just sick and tired and mad and frustrated that you'll do whatever it takes to make sure that you don't stay in that state. That's what I call productive anger. And now I laugh at that. Now that I've gotten to a point of being so aware of my emotions that I just don't take them so seriously anymore. So I get so angry, and I can't fool myself anymore. Because when you take the blinders off and you start being real, like real honest with yourself. Well, I started being really honest with myself and took the blinders off. I couldn't buy all my stories. I couldn't buy all my excuses. I couldn't buy all my rationale anymore. I was just kind of just like, oh, it's so ridiculous that I did this to myself. And so now I laugh at it, and I take that productive anger and I put it to use. And I use that to fire me to making that change. So yeah, when your pains and your fears and your discomfort, and basically when you're willing to face worst case scenario, that's part of what we'll be doing in the workshop series as well, is getting to your bottom line. What is the worst case scenario? If you have the fear of the unknown, then what is the worst possible scenario that could come out of this? And you might even look at the worst case scenario for staying where you're at too. What's the worst case scenario? What's the worst case scenario if I carry extra 50, 60, 75 pounds with me? What's the worst case scenario in that? Worst case scenario for me is that I'll be passing this struggle along to my kids whenever I have kids. Worst case scenario is that my kids, whenever they're in their 30s, are not going to be happy with themselves. And they're going to be having conversations with people like I'm having conversations with people, because they got modeled a behavior and they don't understand it themselves. That was my catalyst. That was the reason that I decided to change. I was tired of the struggle for myself. But for some reason, just having the struggle for myself wasn't a good enough reason. I realize now I wasn't worth it to myself then to to do what it took to go the distance, to be the one who stuck to it and stayed and was disciplined. But when I thought about my kids, and I thought about my future kids, and I thought about bringing them up, and I thought about them watching me struggle, watching me not like my reflection in the mirror, watching me not being happy with myself, even though, because I work with a lot of moms, and I know this to be true, even though you think you're smiling in their face and they don't see your struggle and your pain, kids are like dogs. They can read energy. They can pick up on it. They sense it. I believe this to be true anyway. And if you think that they don't know what's going on, they absolutely kind of came up with a pretty easy little formula for success. I call it the ABCs of success. I believe that all success depends on the A, which is awareness, B, which is your beliefs, and C, your choices. Awareness, belief, and choices. I mean, that's the key thing for any kind of success, temporary or lasting success. Your awareness for how you function and how you think and what's going on in a situation. And awareness, you can also kind of also insert the word acceptance for that. But your awareness of what you are doing, your beliefs, or your awareness of your beliefs, and your awareness of your choices. If you don't even know what your beliefs are, like what's your core belief system, like what operating system you're running on, if you're not even aware of what your beliefs are, and it'll be pretty surprising to you whenever we really get down to it, what your beliefs are. Without awareness on what your belief system is, then you're going to be just running on that default mode and have no control over what's going on if you're not aware of it. And then shifting your awareness and putting your awareness on your beliefs and understanding your belief systems, then you can see what's led you to your choices. And when you can see your limiting belief systems, and you can work through those limiting belief systems and kind of trade them out for a more serving belief system, then you usually get more choices. And again, like I said earlier, I'm only interested in offering you another perspective that opens up more choices in your life. It's up to you which choice to make. And it's up to you, which perspective to take. But at least you know, I'm just offering you another choice. That's all it is, another choice in thinking. So your awareness, your beliefs, and your choices. And again, 90% of your life is run by you. A year ago, when this picture was taken, this before picture was taken, I would have told you that I love myself. And I would have told you that I believe that I deserve everything this life has to offer, and that I deserve abundance and happiness and everything. I deserve all of that. I really, really, really believe that. So why didn't I have it? If I really, 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 really believed it about myself, why didn't I have it? So there's a really simple formula that I started to put to implement into my life that are a belief system, I guess you would say, that the world around you is a reflection of what's within you. Or the world around me is a reflection of what's within me. So if you want to really get real about what your belief system is, take a look around you. And if you have lacking in your life, if you're not doing everything that you deserve in your life, if you don't have this abundance, splendid bliss, peace, juiciness about life, then I hate to say it, but that's a reflection of what your belief systems are. If you're lacking in your life, you have a belief system that is lacking. If you have a lot of circumstances in your life that allows you or creates you or that you find yourself being a victim of the economy, a victim of how your husband treats you, a victim of how your parents treat you, a victim of how your kids treat you, a victim of how you're treated at work. If you're just sitting there taking what's handed to you, then that's really the truth of what your belief system is. Because if you didn't believe that, it wouldn't be happening in your life. That's just a bottom line. So I found myself knowing all this stuff. Been studying it for years. I've studied under, name somebody fabulous. I've studied under them. I've read the books. I've seen the movies. I've listened to their lectures. I've gone and attended them. So why, when I knew it here, why was it not happening all around me? And so when I got to that point where I was like, okay, Chrissy, the world around you is a reflection of what's within you. And I got this fabulous key philosophy from Jack Canfield to give up, blaming, justifying, and playing. Also a big thing with Matthew Ferry. He's another mentor of mine. giving up, blaming, justifying, and playing, and taking 100% responsibility for my life. So 100% responsibility for my life, and the world around me is a reflection of what's going on within me. Then whatever I am experiencing in my life, it's got to be reflected as a piece within me. So if I have someone who is not being kind to me, then there must be somewhere, following that formula, following that belief system, there has to be somewhere in my life that I am not kind to somebody else. And if I have somebody that's lying to me in my life, then there must be somewhere in my life that I'm lying to somebody. And I would be the first one to tell you, I'm a very honest person, and I don't lie to people, and that's not how I operate. I'm a big believer in karma. What goes around comes around, and I don't want to put anything on anybody else that I don't want being put back on me. I've told you that. However, if I'm still having it show up in my life, and I'm believing this philosophy, then how is that possible? And then it hit me one time. Maybe who I'm not kind to, maybe who I'm lying to, is myself. If I have to stop pointing my finger everywhere else at everybody else, and that only leaves me in the room, then I started getting somewhere. And then I started really kind of digging in and getting into my truths and finding out what it is that I was really believing, what I was really feeling, how I was really operating in my life. Like that whole world around me just kind of got shattered when I realized all this suffering and all this misery. And I mean, let's get real. I mean, seriously, I'm not living in a garbage dump in a third world country. You know, I do have a car, I've got an awesome family, amazing husband. You know, I can pay all my bills. Things are okay. But really, I felt like I was suffering inside. I really felt miserable. There was like this constant battle that was going on up here that just was never satisfied and never happy. And it was just, it consumed me when I finally saw it. And this is years after doing affirmations and positive thinking. And I'm like one of the people that are like, gosh, I wish I could just be positive like Chrissy. She has such a positive perspective. But yet I still had all this stuff going on in my head. Being outside of it, looking in on it now, it was crazy, like chaotic in here. And at the time, it's all that I knew, so I really wasn't all that aware of it.